Hello gorgeous people. Well, I'm here in the countryside and with my dogs. You can see them from behind. You'll see them during the video. And I'm here with my electric bike. So I thought I'd do this video, and the next one I'm going to do from the countryside, just for a change. Today I want to talk about a conversation I had with the emissaries, and it's about our biggest impediment, our greatest impediment, the impediment to humankind. I'll tell you all about it on the other side. So I said to the emissaries, hey, tell me, what is our biggest problem, our biggest impediment? And I expected them to say something like, talk about the biases, you know, the biases that we've been talking about. So I thought they would say something like, well, it's confirmation bias, or it's authority bias, something like that. And they said straight away, without pause, they answered, it's fear. And of course, it makes absolute sense, because fear is the basis of everything, isn't it? Fear is the basis of everything that we don't do and everything that we do. Fear is used to make us do things and to make us not do things. And I know we've talked about the way that we should expand our comfort zone by putting ourselves in uncomfortable situations. And those uncomfortable situations are effectively making yourself scared. Being scared of something and doing it anyway. Feeling the fear and doing it anyway. But the thing is that we are built to not to avoid frightening situations. Why? Because they're dangerous, or at least we perceive them to be dangerous. And so we're built to avoid them. And so it's a real challenge for us in our entire life. It's a challenge to actually live our life without fear. You know, and I know in the Bible, 365 times it says, fear not. Why? Why does it say that? Well, because we're very, very fucking fearful. And so the emissaries were saying, and of course the baddies know that. They know that fear is our core, our base kind of feeling that we have here in this 3D world. We come here, this is a fearful world. It's not happy-go-lucky. Well, it certainly isn't now, like it used to be. And so their job, and what I'm very aware of now, what I'm absolutely convinced of, is that the baddies' job, and is their role, right? That's the role that they've come down to do, just as we've got our plan. Their role is to keep fear ramped up. We've got to be in a climate of fear constantly. And boy, never more so than now. And obviously I think it's to do with the times, you know, the end of days or whatever. But it's never been more fearful, more the world filled with horribleness. And they know that. And sometimes I think that they just create fearful situations just for the sake of having them. You know, they've got an agenda, yeah, they've got an agenda, and they like to do stuff, and you know, they've got plans that are years and years ahead. But I think a lot of the stuff is just for the sake of making the world a shitty place and for us to feel scared and worried. And they always use that to their advantage. They make everything scary. And what the emissaries were saying was, it's that fear, the fear of anything, that stops us from waking up. Because what would you rather do? Lie in bed with the blankets pulled up, your knees knocking, and stay there, or look under the bed to see if the monster's there? Most of us would just stay in bed, just terrified. Yeah? And so it paralyzes us. Fear paralyzes us. And that's why the baddies use fear. That's why they've got, that's their biggest tool, because they want mankind to be paralyzed, because when we're paralyzed, well, we don't do anything else. Totally controllable. Very, very controllable. The emissaries also mentioned something interesting. I thought it was interesting, because they were saying, all right, so now everybody's talking about the baddies, and we talk about the deep state. Now, I don't I don't know if you were involved in waking up at the time when the deep state was a conspiracy theory. The deep state was a complete and utter conspiracy theory. And people would say, what a load of rubbish, deep state. Now it's mentioned in normal media, the deep state, the deep state. But also, and still to this day, they are called the elites, right? The elites, the untouchables. Who do you think made that name up? Who do you think made that name up? We, the normal people, call them the elites, or do you think they made that name up? I've got a feeling that it was them. Why? Because what does that name tell you? The elites, that they're better than us, right? You know, an elite squad, elite level, it's the better. And also that they are untouchable. It's the same with the deep state. The deep state, still the state that controls us, it's just deep. You know, these are names that are designed to make us scared. They're designed to make us say, what's the point? If they are elites and they're untouchable, what's the point? There's nothing that we can do. So, if we had chosen the name for them, if we have the opportunity to choose it, we wouldn't say the elites. We would say dirty, low-life, stinking, manky fucking bastards. That's what we would call them, because that's what they are. They choose the elite, not us. And I suppose once you know that fear is our biggest impediment, then once we know our weakness, then we can use it as a strength. Because once we understand that fear is what holds us back, fear is what stops us from waking up, fear stops us from being the best, then we can do something about it. I can remember talking to my auntie, and I was telling her something, you know, when you're in that area of, I'm going to tell you all of the stuff that's going on in the world when you've just woken up, and you're into sharing, but not in a good way. And she would say to me, Gordon, before you tell me that, is it going to upset me? Is it going to be something that I won't be able to get out of my mind? And I said, well, possibly. And she used to say, well, don't tell me, I don't want to know. Why would she say that? Well, it's because she was fearful of loss, fearful of going into a loss process. And so it was easier for her to ignore it, to not hear it. And that, you know, fair enough, but we've, as awakened people, just because we're awakened doesn't mean that we're not fearful anymore. Just because we're awakened doesn't mean that we still don't have that impediment. Of course we do. We just have fear about other things. And so what's the answer? The answer is putting ourselves in positions where we feel fear. Noticing that we feel fear and saying, right, well, fuck it, I'm going to do that. Because I'm scared of it, I'm going to have to do it. I've done that for quite a while now. I'm not great at it. There's still some things that I'm scared of and I avoid. But when I'm feeling okay, when I'm feeling resourceful, and I'm aware that I'm scared of something, I say, right, well, I'm going to do it. You can't believe the joy that it brings you. The self-esteem, the self-worth, the self-love just goes shooting through the ceiling. Why? Because you've done it, despite being scared. And it makes you feel so much better about yourself. It's incredible. It's incredible. So I would recommend it. Feel the fear, and it isn't feel the fear and do it anyway. It's notice the fear and then do that. Notice where the fear is and do that. Not something else. Not, well, I'll just have a 5-minute break. I'll have a coffee. As I worked with a guy once who was a heroin addict, which I didn't know about. And he would sit and he would tell me everything he was going to do. I think when he was a bit sort of high, he smoked it, he didn't inject it. And he would say, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. You watch what I do when I've had this coffee. And he never did anything, but it was always afterwards. And I think we do that as well when we're feeling scared. Like, yeah, I'll do that. I'm just gonna sit and send a few emails first. And that's okay. Sometimes you've got to take a breather and then get going. But if you do it, even if you start with small things, that's the key. It doesn't have to be something enormous, like throwing yourself off the Forth Bridge on a bit of elastic or something. No, it can just be something small, but it changes your life. It changes who you are, and you become kind of bulletproof in a way, because those incidental things that would make you fearful before don't anymore. However, it's a work in progress, and you can't do it and then stop. You've got to constantly do it, otherwise the fears just come back in. So, have you done it? What have you done that was fearful but you did it anyway? And then how did you feel afterwards? Put it in the comments. Share what you've done and whether you're on the same path of overcoming your fears. What fears did you have to face during the pandemic, like all of us? Okay, I look forward to hearing from you. This is sun shining in my eyes. I love you all, and I'll speak to you all later. Bye-bye.